Did you turn the volume on? President Bing? Did you turn the volume on?
Yeah. Just waiting for 7 o'clock. Okay, do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the meeting at 7 o'clock. Whenever a roll call.
Ryan Wakely? Here. Camille Wilcox? Here. Aaron Galassi?
Here.
President Bing?
Here.
Rachel G? Here. Jordan Dirksen? Linda Wolfer? Tom Green?
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes? And these are the minutes from the committee meeting in February.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Now on to the bills. Okay, the bills total $14,688.20. We have the testing contract, $3958.33, $3958.34. We got sewer testing, $105.50, sewer testing, $105.50, and sewer testing, $105.50. We had to replace an injector valve on the water system, $348. Our IT monthly maintenance for our computers, $126. Our annual Locust membership, that's the software we use to run this system, $3,072. A solar inspection at 540 Thunder Valley, $190. We had to replace a red hat valve in the sewer plant, $665.87. The utilities, $1528.43. Telephone lines, $519.74. And a snow blower pin for $4.99. That comes to a $5441.16 from the general fund and $9247.04 for water and sewer. So, with that, any questions? Can I have a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Can I have a roll call?
Ryan Wakely?
Aye.
Camille Wilcox?
Aye.
Aaron Galassi?
Aye.
President Bing?
Aye.
Rachel G?
Aye.
Jordan Dirksen? Linda Wolfer?
Okay, motion passes. Okay, next is public comments. I'm sure we have a couple. Yep.
Before the meeting, you said that you and the lawyer talked about the code enforcer ordinance and the ordinance for zoning. Does
Yeah.
that cost the village anything?
Probably did. I haven't been billed for it yet, so I don't know what it's
That's
gonna
all my
cost us.
question was.
Okay, here you go. Anybody else?
My name's Roger Starmerson. I live down at the end of North Fifth Street.
Okay,
There's an empty lot between myself and Capron Road, which is basically an animal habitat. There's brush pile in there, it's been piled there for 20, 25 years, there's foundations and everything else. Got wildlife running in and out of there every day.
Okay.
Skunk, coons, possum, you
Okay.
name it's running in and out of there. What
All
can we
right.
do about that?
I can have our public works guy go over and take a look at it. I have to refer to our attorney. If it's private property, I don't know that there's much we can do.
Other than that, sounds like a code violation.
Yeah, we can find out who the owner is and send them a letter
Yeah.
to start
Mowed
with.
the weeds in probably 10 years.
Okay, well,
There's old foundations in there.
It's
All
probably
right.
a code violation, it's worthy of getting a hold of the.
we're gonna have to find out who owns it and send them a letter, tell them they're gonna have to clean it up. Now, this is gonna be a process, okay? If they don't respond, we can fine them, but here's my problem, okay? It's not an improved lot, so we don't have anything to hang our hat on. For instance, if you were a homeowner and your grass was 3 feet tall and you refused to mow it, I can fine you and I can attach it to your water bill. And if you don't pay your water bill, I can shut off your service. That might compel you to mow your lawn. In this particular case, if it's just a vacant lot, we're gonna do the best we can. If we don't get any satisfaction out of it, then I will talk to our attorney and see if we can get our public works guy in there to clean it up for us.
Let me rephrase that. It's not empty. They're actually in the process of building a condominium.
Okay. Well, then we'll talk to, then we should know who it is, because we should have a building permit for it, and we'll get a hold of them and ask them to start cleaning it up.
I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Okay. I wouldn't want to live next door to that.
Well, I've got grandkids running all over.
Okay, yeah, we'll work on it for you, okay? All right, we will work on it for you. It's part of the discussion we're gonna have later on tonight about code enforcement too, by the way, so, okay? Anybody else? Yep.
With your dog slash now animal ordinance, I did some research because you have stated that you feel 4 pets is enough. And it's on video, so you can't deny it.
I don't deny it.
When I looked, Poplar Grove has no limits on their pets. What they do, I agree, yes, we need an ordinance on animals. Like theirs is, you can't have these exotic pets. You can't, yes, I agree with that. But as it stands right now, if I have 6 pets, they're gonna be grandfathered in. If I had a child that her pet dies, I can't replace that pet because then I would be in violation of an ordinance. Nobody around here except for Roscoe, you're allowed 3 domestic pets. Cartersville, you're allowed 2 dogs. Marengo, it depends on the dwelling that you're in. You can go from 1 to 2 to 4. And the exceptions are pets, shops.
All right, so let me stop you for a second, okay? The current ordinance says you can have 2 dogs. If you have more than 2 dogs, then you have to go out and get a small animal dealer's license. Do you have a small animal dealer's license?
No, because I don't have.
Then get rid of your dogs.
I don't have those, I don't have 4 dogs.
Well, you just said you had 5.
I said if I had.
Okay? The ordinance states 2 dogs.
All that was gotten rid of?
No, it wasn't. You got rid of a paragraph ahead of that that said 4 pet limit. There's a section in that clause on specifically for dogs, and it says a 2 dog limit. That's paragraph 5.3.1A, I think is what it is. And if you have more than 2 dogs, you have to get a small animal dealer's license. So we're raising the limit from 2 dogs to 4 dogs, and we're doing away with the small animal dealer's license. The question came up as to what if somebody has like 12 turtles? So now the new ordinance has redefined the definition of a pet. And what we have is a definition, a subsection called household pets, which I'm going to get to when we go over this thing. Number 2, there was never anything in any ordinance that required anybody to let me into their house to verify how many pets they have. What we were having was a general discussion about the village has the right to enforce its codes and ordinances, okay? That's a given. And state law says that if things are in such a manner that they're causing health problems or they're illegal or whatever, then the village can go and can petition a judge and get a warrant issued so they can enter that house to verify those things. I'm not doing that. We've never done that.
It was said.
It was a conversation. It wasn't said. It was a discussion on what the process is if something ever got to that point. Nothing's ever gotten to that point. I hope it never gets to that point because I don't want to do that. I don't belong in your house. You don't belong in mine. Exactly. Plus, if I wrote an ordinance that allowed me to do that, I'm pretty sure it would be found unconstitutional. The Bill of Rights protects you from undue search and seizure, and I'm not about to violate that. I took an oath to uphold the Constitution, and we're not going to violate it. So all this is doing, it's actually relaxing the requirement, not restricting the requirement. Anything else?
residents who are.
Good. I hope they heard this conversation tonight so they understand that was a waste of time.
It's not a waste of time.
Well, it is to me.
You're limiting their pets.
I'm not, I'm limiting their pets less than they were limited before.
But the original code stated 4 animals anyways. So,
And then it was taken away.
But she left the one in on dogs.
So then it,
But isn't it, if you're increasing it to 4 dogs, it means you can't have any cats? Then you can only have
There is a specific section under animal control for dogs. Not cats, not gerbils, not horses, not pigs, dogs.
you have 4 dogs.
And you can only have 2 dogs.
You
that's
just
under
said
the,
4 dogs.
that's under the old
Oh,
ordinance.
I'm talking about the new one you wanted,
The new one's gonna allow you to have 4 dogs.
but no cats.
It's
4 pets, whatever they are, whatever combination they are.
4 pets, that means if you've got,
Yeah, but you can't say 4 dogs. 3 dogs, 1
right,
cat.
which means if you have 3 dogs, you can't have you can't have.
Okay,
maybe
Maybe 1 cat.
I'm gonna limit this conversation, I think we've talked about this enough. And,
We've talked about it since
I think-
August, so.
well, I think there is
And they built
a new part here that we haven't told.
we'll get, but I wanna get
Anything
to
about-
it
yeah, so
when we
maybe-
get to it.
Maybe we
Okay?
can revisit
All right.
audience comments
So-
after that.
That's next on the list, so we're gonna go over it right now. Okay? So this is an ordinance revising, Code Title 5, Chapter 1, Animal Control of the Municipal Code of the Village of Capron. Whereas Title 5, Chapter 1 of the Municipal Code of the Village of Capron provides for regulation of animals, and whereas the Village of Capron has the authority to place control and stipulations on the domestic animal population for the well-being of its residents, and whereas the village also wishes to have a reasonable and consistent approach to these controls, and now, therefore, be it ordained by the President and Board of Trustees of the Village of Capron, Boone County, Illinois, as follows. Section 1, Title 5, Public Safety, Chapter 1, Animal Control, Article A, Dogs. Section 5-1A-2, Number of dogs is removed in its entirety and left blank. Section 2, Title 5, Chapter 1, Section 5-1-1, Definitions is amended to add the following. Pets. Dogs, cats, other animals generally accepted as household pets, including but not limited to pot-bellied pigs. Household pets such as fish, reptiles, or other animals are pets generally kept within the walls of the owner's house or residence. Except as otherwise provided in Section 5-1-3, this definition shall not include any farm animals, farm birds, and/or dangerous animals, such animals are prohibited from being kept as pets within the village limits. Section 3, Title 5, Chapter 1, Section 5-1-2, relating to chickens is renumbered to Section 5-1-3. So chickens are not removed, nothing has changed, we just renumbered the paragraph. Section 4, Title 5, Chapter 1, Section 5-1-2A is hereby added to provide as follows. A, general requirements. Only pets, in parentheses, in quotation marks, as defined in Section 5-1-1 of this chapter, shall be allowed to be kept with any household or residence located within the village. There should be a maximum of limitation of 4 pets per household or residence located within the village. Notwithstanding the foregoing, said 4-pet limitation shall not apply to household pets which are located only within the household or residence. Any residence which has an excess of 4 pets as the effective date hereof shall be permitted to keep those pets. However, upon the death of any one of those pets, the pet may not be replaced with another pet unless such replacement would otherwise be in conformity with the pet limitations set forth in this subsection. Notwithstanding the foregoing, any newborn pets born from the same litter shall be allowed to remain in a household or residence for up to 4 months from the date of birth. Any violation of this subsection is hereby declared to be a public nuisance, and each day the subsection is violated shall constitute a separate offense. Section 5, Title 5, Chapter 1, Section 5-1-2B and C shall remain in its entirety. Section 6, that this ordinance shall be effective upon its passage, signing, and publication according to law. And Section 7, that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict hereby are hereby repealed. That's the ordinance. So you're allowed 4 animals, and those animals, according to this definition, are the type of animals that go out of the house. Any animals that are kept in aquariums or terrariums or anything like that do not become part of this problem.
Right, that's
And
fair.
this changing of the words was because I asked for that change, that
Yes,
definition.
I'm gonna get
because-
up and move over here so everybody can see me. Yeah, that's,
Where-
and one, I apologize I wasn't here last meeting. What I've done is capitalize household pets in the second sentence there, so that that defines a subset of pets to include things like little turtles or fish or whatever that.
You can have as many of those
Yeah,
as
who
you
cares
want.
how
It
many of
also
those?
includes indoor cats, because any animal that's not going outside
Right.
is not part of the 4. So
Arguably-
you can
Right.
have 10 cats, 4 dogs, 10 turtles.
Yeah,
I would say arguably that is correct. If it's-
Yes,
if
that
they
is
never
correct.
exit the house,
Yeah.
they're.
Now that that's been put in
It's-
there.
Yeah.
It's
In
intended.
fairness
Okay.
to the residents, that
yeah.
wasn't in
So,
the last.
we're not
So
raiding
this-
anybody's houses, we're not confiscating anybody's pets. I'm not gonna go around counting how many we got.
Yeah, well, usually this is driven by complaints.
Right.
If somebody
So-
complains, then you have a responsibility to respond to the complaint. My brief comment about entering the home, I participated in the conversation, maybe not, it wasn't the last meeting, it must have been the meeting before that. If there's a violation, there is a first step, call the person up or send them a letter and say, hey, we perceive a violation. Could you please contact us and let's talk through it? They don't do anything. You send them a stronger letter. They don't do anything. You knock on the door. Can we please try to get this resolved? Can we come in and see? No, you can't. Then the board has to decide, do you really want to go to the next step? Really try to get access. This applies to whether somebody has inappropriate water plumbing hookups, or maybe they did electrical work in their house without a permit and there's a fear that it might be dangerous. All spectrum of ordinance violations, we deal with in that same way. Enforcement letters, then a little more pressure, then a little more pressure, and if nothing can happen, you do have the right to go to court and get an administrative warrant. In the 30 years plus, I'm old now, that I've been doing municipal law, I've probably done 3 administrative warrants, one of which was in Capron, but it was at the business over here, Capron Manufacturing.
Okay.
And that was 25 years ago, and I don't know, I can't remember all the details, but I did one in McChesney Park, I've done one in, I don't know, might have been Cherry Valley, I can't remember. So it's very rare that it gets to that point. So there shouldn't be any concern about that. I'm happy to answer questions about what I tried to do here and how I tried to kind of carve out and make it make a little more sense.
okay, all right.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, thank you. The next item is the ordinance for code enforcer. Now, the current code says that I shall appoint a code enforcement officer. I've been dealing with specifications for my whole life. When it says shall, that means you have to, okay? If it says should, that's an option,
May.
okay? It's very difficult to have a code enforcement officer who actually lives in the village where he's a code enforcement officer. It's not a healthy position to be in, okay, for obvious reasons. So all this ordinance is going to do is say the president may appoint a member of the administration, i.e. clerk, president, trustee, or village attorney, to act as and/or facilitate the code enforcement officer / building inspector. Alternatively, the village president may appoint a code enforcement / building inspector, all with the advice and consent of the Board of Trustees. The code enforcement officer, building inspector shall upon request report to the corporate authorities. Basically, that's what this ordinance is doing. It's just giving me the option of either appointing somebody in our office as the code enforcement officer or hiring a code enforcement officer. And we're going to do it as soon as we pass this. We're going to do it administratively. We're not going to go out and hire a code enforcement officer. And code enforcement will be done, as Tom said, via complaint. We're not going to drive around town and look to see if anybody is violating any codes. I ain't doing it, okay? If somebody's got a problem, they can contact the village. Either we'll we'll put together a letter to send out, or we'll get Tom involved and we'll work on getting a letter to send out. And like you said, we're gonna be nice about it, and then maybe not so nice about it, and then maybe not so nice about it. It all depends on what the circumstances are. But I'm not going to a judge to get a warrant because somebody's grass is 12 inches tall. That's just not what we're gonna do here, okay? So please get that out of your minds, because that's not what I'm about. That's not what I ran for president for, and I doubt seriously that I would get this board to go along with that anyhow, all right? And I hope that you've all noticed that we try to work as a team here, all right? I listen to what everybody has to say, they listen to everything I have to say, and we come to a consensus. This isn't my way or the highway, and it isn't gonna be. That's not what I ran on, that's not what I said I was gonna do, and this is the way we need to do this. So all I'm trying to do here is, instead of ignoring the requirements, if they don't make any sense, we need to change them, so we're in compliance with our own code, okay? It's the same thing that I'm trying to do with this building. I can't go after the people downtown to fix up their buildings if we don't take care of our own building first, okay? So we're just trying to clean them up. Some of the things that are in this code that we really can't enforce or can't comply with, and make it so that we can, okay? All right, the next one is for zoning. There's a requirement.
Can we step back and talk about this a little
Sure.
bit?
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I have issue here with is that we're including the village attorney in this, and no offense, Tom, and the reason for it is nothing to do with your work or anything, it's just that if we do that, that's going to cost our taxpayers money.
Okay,
Where if-
well, I wasn't going to appoint
if it's
him
any of us-
anyhow, so,
Yeah.
okay? No offense, Tom.
Well, if I might, the only reason I added that is for flexibility. I would not expect, and you'll note it says appoint as code enforcement or to facilitate the code enforcement. So there may get to a point where facilitating needs to happen.
We may have to have him put a letter together for
Yeah, I
us,
mean,
so.
once in a while, and that's
Okay.
kind of why I added that. As you know, if there's truly a building code violation, we go to our person that we've hired from the county, and he helps us resolve
I mean-
theirs. So we do subcontract
Right.
out. Even if we have code enforcement, there are outside entities that you can hire on a contract basis, on a one-time basis, on a, hey, we need somebody with a little
Yeah,
expertise.
and I don't want to spend the money.
I don't either.
But only if you need to, you can do that. So
Probably as a last resort.
Okay.
frankly, what I would expect to happen is you get a complaint, you tell the mayor or you tell Crystal, and the mayor and Crystal put a letter together and send it out.
Yeah,
That's
now if,
historically
and
what's
if it
happened.
if it doesn't work, then I want to get back with the board and say, all right, do we elevate this to the next, you know what I mean? That's what we're gonna do. But I have to make it so that, if I'm gonna be the code enforcement officer, then I have to make it so that I'm allowed to do that,
Yeah, it was
okay?
odd that the thing said the mayor, the president shall appoint,
Yeah.
and it really is kind of mandatory that it
Yeah.
says shall. So we're taking that shall out and kind of making it reflect what we've been trying to do over the last few years.
Yeah. Now, the next one, the very last one, deals with the zoning board of appeals. Now, the reason this came up is because Gina, who is the zoning officer for the county out of Belvedere that we use, asked us who our zoning board of appeals was. And I sent her a letter back and saying that the board is acting as the zoning board of appeals, but I talked to Tom, and again, the code says the president shall appoint a 7-member zoning board of appeals committee, and the other requirement is that these members of the board have terms ranging from 1 to 7 years. So you got a 1-year, 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, 5-year, 6-year, and 7-year term. I don't know where I'm gonna get 7 people to do that,
And they
all
are
right?
volunteer positions too.
Yeah, and they're
Nowadays,
volunteer
they're
positions,
not.
okay?
Yeah,
So,
good one.
what the previous administration did basically is just get rid of that and ignore the requirement, and they did it on, and I don't have a problem with that, except we have to make the code reflect the practice. So the committee of the whole, it's what it's saying now, is the committee of the whole shall consist of the president and the members of the board of trustees. In addition, the meeting schedule is provided in 16-2, A2, the committee of the whole shall meet as needed and as directed by the corporate authorities. In the absence of an appointed zoning board of appeals, the committee of the whole shall perform those functions as required by the village code of ordinances in the state of Illinois municipal code. And that's all we're doing there. So now I can say officially, when we pass this, that this board is the ZBA. And that's it, okay? So these were three changes, these were the changes that I wanted to make. And you all have copies of the ordinances. We're not voting on this tonight because this is a committee meeting, so we've got 2 weeks to investigate this, digest it, whatever you want to do with it, and then we'll come back and decide whether we're going to vote on these. Okay? We got any questions?
Any questions from the group, from the residents about that
Okay.
ordinance about the animals? Any questions about the animals? We have some rewritten.
Wait, there was one, somebody said that the ordinance said that if, you think they have more than 4 pets, that you can just walk in and.
No, it doesn't say that. It never said that. We were having a discussion about, Matt was saying he wasn't comfortable with me walking into somebody's house, all right? And I said, I can't do that. And we were having the discussion with Tom about the process, about how you go about, and you have to petition a judge, you gotta get a warrant, the sheriff shows up with you, blah, 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 okay? We can't do that.
And it's
Well,
really
you're all
extreme.
welcome in my house.
Okay, so this was a bunch of hullabaloo about nothing, okay? Because it's not gonna happen, all right?
Come over, I'll give you a beer.
Okay, another thing I want to go over with you guys. I don't know how our furnaces and our air conditioning and everything was being taken care of, but when I took office, we decided that we were going to get our furnaces and our air conditioning units, whether it's at the sewer plant or here or wherever it is, get them serviced, and get them serviced on a regular basis. So I asked Comfort Solutions to give us a quote for doing all our equipment on a regular basis, and that's what this is. So basically, it's gonna come down to, the locations are Village Hall, Waste Treatment Plant, Public Works Building, Department of Water Works and pump stations. And they're going to, service, the furnaces, the air conditioners, humidifiers, air cleaners, HVAC equipment, et cetera. And we get a priority maintenance agreement along with this, just like you do at home if you sign up with them, okay? The heating season, $75 per season for check per unit, which is relatively cheap. If you go on just to get one time, it's like over $100, so we get a break there. And then cost per visit to perform maintenance for the heating season is $825, not including any parts, replacement parts, etc., and replacement air filters. The cooling season, $75 per seasonal clean and check, and the total cost per visit and perform maintenance for a cooling system is $150. So we get a 5% discount on labor and parts if they have to install anything. It's basically a standard agreement that any homeowner would sign with them to get their air conditioning and heating systems serviced and taken care of. So again, we're not voting on this tonight, all right? If somebody would like to get a quote from somebody else to compare costs, be my guest, but I've been using these people for quite a long time, and they do a pretty good job for me, so that's my recommendation, okay?
Another question on that. The 825, is that per building?
That's the
unit?
whole thing.
Or
That's the whole
thing
enchilada.
For all 6 properties?
Yep.
Okay.
Can I
Yep.
ask a question?
Yes.
825 is $8.25?
$825, yeah.
Well, you said 100.
I wish it was $8.25, okay? Yeah, it's $825 total. But that's the cost to perform maintenance for the heating season, period, okay? And then the $150 for the cooling season, okay? So you guys can look that over, and we'll talk about it again in 2 weeks, okay? Now, I want to go over, I got some information from the USDA. The original computation for all this stuff was based on the $1.9 million that we spent on the water tower and all that good stuff. We added another $282,000 to that to finish off the Ogden Street project, okay? So it totals a little bit more than that. So they sent me new payment schedules, okay? And I want everybody to know, I mean, I got a total amortization. The loan amount for the $282,000 runs through 2060. And the loan amount for the 1.9 runs through 2059. So these are long-term, because it was a 40-year loan. So like next year, on May 1st, 2022, we're gonna owe $8,140 on the 283, okay? And in November, I think it is, let me see, nope, May 1st of 2022, on the 1.9, we're gonna owe $72,412. So don't get scary, because the surcharge that you guys pay every month on your water bill pays for this. That's why we did that. So we're not raising, we don't have to do anything spectacular here. Now, the other thing that they did, they have requirements for us. So these are reserve accounts that we have to maintain. One of them's called the debt service reserve. And this is case we are going to default on our loan. And we have to fund this reserve at a cost of $662 a month until we have an accumulation of $79,344. After that, we don't have to put any more money into it, okay? Then we have another one called the short-lived asset reserve, all right? And this is, funds will be used for replacement of system equipment and components that typically have 2 to 15 years of useful life. We have to fund this at the rate of $3,522 a month for the life of the loan, all the way through 2060, okay? And then it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to continue it afterwards, because then you got money to repair and replace everything. So this is not something for discussion. This is not something we get to vote on. This is something that we just have to do, and I just wanted everybody to know that these are the updated numbers, and they will be reflected in our new budget for fiscal year 2023, okay? Jordan is not here tonight, so I am going to go over his water report. The automatic transfer switch will be installed on the lift station on Cloud Mist tomorrow. Commonwealth Edison has been coordinated with all the electric and all that good stuff, so that's gonna be done. Other than that, we've started the process with the SCADA update. All right, it says we had an injector crack at well 3, which we fixed. Because of that, we ordered some more spare parts, so if it happens at another well, we'll be able to have the parts on hand. We still haven't heard anything about the blower that we dropped off, but I heard about it today. This is really strange. It's cost over $7,000 to repair this blower, but it's gonna cost over $5,000 to get a new one. So we're gonna get a new one, okay? We don't need to get it right away. I think there's 7 blowers on this unit, so we still have 6 operating. But when they get me the official quote and everything, because it's not part of our discussion or anything tonight, we'll go over it. And I want to remind everybody that we'll be getting a payment, another payment from the American Rescue Plan of another $92,600 that we can use on wastewater, water, and all that good stuff. So that's reflected in the budget, so that's where it's going to come from.
When will we be getting that?
October. Okay, so that's it. All operations and plant inspections have been performed, and all our numbers are in compliance. So that's our water report. And this water report will be available on our website, probably sometime tomorrow, if not soon after, okay? And that's what we got. So, Trustee Wilcox?
When is the fiscal year 23 budget due?
It's due during the first quarter of the fiscal year. We're gonna have it ready well before that. I've already started on it. So you're gonna get it. I'm waiting for this month's financial report, because that'll take us through the first 10 months of the year. And I'm basing everything off of that, so we should be in pretty good shape. But yeah, you guys should get a copy of it. I hope to have you guys have a copy of it at the April meeting. Okay?
In that, are we gonna have a list of the streets and sidewalks and things like that are gonna be replaced?
Yes, we are. I'm gonna go over all that with you, okay? Everything, yep. There will be no questions left unanswered, I hope, okay? Trustee Wolfarth is not here. Trustee Wakely?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nope.
Okay. Trustee Agee?
We did have a comment online asking about the 173 project.
Okay.
Is that 2025 or 2027?
2027, okay? I just had a meeting with them, I had a telephone conversation with them yesterday, I saved us some parking spaces, okay? We need them. They were gonna take 8 parking spaces away from 4th Street, which was not a real good idea, now they're taking away 3. The reason is, they're changing the parking from parallel to pull-in. So originally, they had all the parking spaces at 45-degree angles. Now they're gonna be at 60-degree angles, so we could have, I told them, we got people living in apartments, we got business. I said, we got our maintenance building, which takes up quite a bit with our driveway and stuff, we can't be losing. And then you got the bar and Magic Palace and we can't be losing parking spaces. So, they went along with us on that, okay? Trustee Galassi.
Can we pay more than the minimum to save the village money on?
We probably could, but, it would depend on what we have in our budget at the time. So, yeah, I don't think there's as far as I remember, there's no prepayment penalty on these loans.
Okay.
Okay? But, you know, we're only paying 2.65% interest on this too, so it's not
a lot.
It's not a lot. Okay? All right. Anybody else? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Actually,
Thank
did
you.
he have his, oh, he already spoke? Or-
What?
Did he already speak? Sorry.
Aaron already said yes.
Yeah, Aaron
Oh,
said, yeah, he did
sorry.
have it, yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you, everybody.